thing. And we're live streaming. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Relief Valve podcast. I have not been able to stream as much as I've wanted to. It's family stuff, the holiday season. That's my excuses. It's not your problem. You're obviously checking out other people in other content creators, and that's something that I've always that's what I've always advocated for is never. It doesn't matter who it is. Never get all of your information from one person. It's always important to diversify your portfolio, get it from multiple places. There could be a story I missed. There could be information I missed on something. You might not like my opinion or my thoughts on a particular story, so you went elsewhere to get a different slant on it and see how you felt about it from there. That's all completely legitimate, and that's something that I advocate for. But for all the fans that we have, the old ones that have stuck with us, I've been a little inconsistent lately. Thank you very much on YouTube, on Rumble, on TikTok. Thank you for sticking with us, and I hope some new ones will give us a chance as well. I want to grow the show. There's some new improvements I'm doing over the coming holiday break that I'm going to do for the show, and I hope to get more people and expand this as well. But so, having talked about that, let's get to the craziness of Candace Owens is the primary thing that we're looking into here, and it's an important conversation to have. A big argument is happening on X about those that are opposed to Candace and calling her out, and those that are on her side and defending her, and just the mess that this turning into for the Conservative Party. And I think it's all tied in, and I think Candace is doing that on purpose, not only to get herself new followers, get herself more revenue coming in, and increase her show, but to also bring down the Conservative Party because she feels jaded by it. She started off as a leftist. I have shown this proof before in my show. I have argued with people about this. She was a leftist online, and they go, "No, she wasn't. She was like a moderate, middle of the road, and yada." She was a leftist. And she did that until that grift didn't work anymore. And Trump was coming in. The Trump train was starting up, and he came in 2016. And then she very quickly changed gears, became a stalwart conservative, and all of a sudden she was in the fight with the rest of us. She's a grifter. She's a liar. And she goes wherever the wind blows, wherever the follows are, and wherever the money is. And now the grift is changing again because she's been jaded, fired by a Jew in the Daily Wire. She was not offered a position within the Trump administration, which she was alleged to have been offered before, or the potential of it. And then so now she's like hates Trump and goes about that, hates this administration, is trying to take it all down, and is the reason, in my opinion, that is one of many factors as to why she's sowing this division and she is going at this attack. Not just at TPUSA, but conservatism in general. This has caused absolute chaos throughout the entirety of conservatism and of the Republican Party. And one of the biggest focal points is Candace Owens. So I think this is just one big lie, one big grift, one big money grab, and an increase for her show while taking down all of her enemies. We all know she's a vengeful person. If you go against her, she immediately snaps back. We're going to look at some of the most recent stuff that happened with Tim Pool. He had Milo Yiannopoulos on the show, Milo Yiannopoulos, and the other gay Republican there that got kicked out of the Republican Party and went to jail for a little while there. I can't remember his name. But they had a huge show where a whole bunch of accusations were made. Tim ended up flipping out on Candace, and it's turned it into even a larger thing because he's been one of the few larger content creators that have actively come out and spoken out against Candace. Let's take a look a little bit about how some of that came to play, and Tim kind of recaps it a bit.
had a new thumbnail for her show. The billion-dollar question. Who benefited from Charlie Kirk's death? Well, the answer is her, of course, because she's got, 20 plus...
And that's correct. So here's a little bit of context here. Right after he did that show with Milo and the other one and called Candace out directly, her response was to do her next show and then put this $1 billion question, who is benefiting from Charlie Kirk's death, and then put Kash Patel on there and then put Tim on there. So this was a retaliation against Tim for speaking out against her. This is how you know that she's lying and she's just implicating the entire planet, essentially. Because anyone that ends up speaking out against her, anyone that takes some sort of action, well, now you're the bad guy, you're part of this, you're defending TPUSA, and you're somehow implicit in some way, shape, or form in Charlie Kirk's death. I will show you here. Ian Carroll is another grifter that she hired on to be her pathetic attack dog. Guy's a fucking scumbag grifter. But one of the guys on here, E.L. Jacoby, and whatever you feel about some of the larger Jewish accounts is besides the point. He makes a good point here about saying who Candace Owens has alleged that Charlie Kirk has been killed by at this point. Israel. The bee cult. I don't even understand. I can't stand to watch her show anymore, especially all the okays. Anybody that has to say okay 500 times in their show is full of fucking shit. You should know that right off the bat. No, I don't know that that's okay. Why don't you fucking prove it instead of saying okay 9 million times in your fucking show? But the bee cult, the deep state, TPUSA, the FBI, the trap door that was there that the shooter came out of, Mormons, Britney Spears, the Egyptian planes, the Trump administration, Erica Kirk, the feds, Charlie's friends, Kash Patel, the Macrons, MK Ultra, the military. Her newest thing is once again going back to the American military, and on and on. What she's doing is throwing shit against the wall and then daring everybody that's implicated within the shit to prove me wrong. I said you're part of all this shit. Now prove me wrong. And that's not the way life works. If you don't have tangible, concrete evidence, you can't just go around pointing fingers at everybody. You actually need to have some sort of proof. She hasn't provided any of that yet. She's just gone off on a fucking tangent. And I'll give you an example of that with the Macrons. We're going to get back to the Tim Pool. I'm going off a little bit here. We're going to get back to the Tim Pool thing and when he recaps all of this. We'll talk about the Macrons when she did the Bridget Macron series. Do I believe that Bridget Macron could be a man? Yes, potentially. It's very odd looking person, right? It's not impossible, but maybe it's improbable, right? The point of it is not that she's right or wrong about Bridget Macron. The point of it is she decided to go out of her way to attack a couple that's in a private relationship, not their political career, but their private relationship behind closed doors. And she decided to attack them without just cause. They have not slighted her to begin with. She's not a citizen of France that has been affected by any of the decisions they've made while they're in office. They haven't affected her mentally, physically, or financially. There's no way for her to claim at the offset of that she is going after them because of damages she's already received. She just decided that it was an interesting story that would get her clicks and likes and follows for her show. She got some information from other, disparaged parties that have been exiled from France and have already been trying to do deep dives on this. And she thought it would be great for viewership for her show. And it was. The problem is that you decided to go after a couple. I hate the Macrons. I think both of them are absolute scumbags, leftist, elitist scumbags. I hate them both. But there's an underlying point here. You went after somebody without just cause, and you did it for the financial gain in the growing viewership of your show. You did it to get more followers and get more monetization, and to put all of that to benefit yourself and put it in your pocket. And that was it. So again, shit being thrown at the wall without absolute concrete. Bridget has big hands like a man. Human beings are made differently, right? One woman can have small feet, one woman can have big feet. One woman can have small hands, one woman can have big hands. That is not an absolute defining factor of it. So she's thrown shit at the wall, and then she said to the Macrons, I dare you to prove me wrong. Except she never had just cause to go after them to begin with. This is the problem with Candace Owens' attacks. And this is what's happening with Charlie and TPUSA right now. She feels slighted from all of this. I don't know if it's because she was in love with Charlie. You know, some of these rumors going around and she wanted him and Erica got him instead. I don't know if it's this bullshit best friend situation or whatever she's pulling, or she hates she was kicked out of TPUSA and she was never invited back. But once again, with this whole list that's here, and at one point or another, she's alleged that every single one of these things is potentially a possibility. So she's throwing shit at the wall again and then saying, prove me wrong. Except the burden of proof is on you, not the person you're attacking. The same thing with Milo at this point, and we're going to get into this, saying that Benny Johnson's gay. He's claiming these other. This was in the past, 2024, where he came out. He's defending Candace now. Now he's a Candace ally. Prior to that, he was saying that her husband's gay. Right? You can't. And so then the affected party has to go to court and say, I'd like to try and provide proof about how I'm not gay. The entire situation is ludicrous. How do you do that? Well, because I know what to do with the woman when we're both naked in the room. Like, here's some pictures of me and my wife in bed. I mean, it's absurd. But you put somebody on their heels and on the defensive side when you just throw claims at them and then you tell them, prove me wrong. This is the bullshit that Candace is doing. So let's get into more of what Tim says here.
Videos with millions of views. The real billion-dollar question, I suppose, is how much money has Candace Owens made milking the assassination of Charlie Kirk?
And that's
with
correct.
Lies, hypocrisy, innuendo, and crackpot conspiracies. Well, she used this thumbnail, which depicts 3 Polaroid pictures, Kash Patel, me, and a mystery man. Now, of course, on the show, she's not really claiming, or for the most part, it's more about. I had Milo on the show, Milo Yiannopoulos, on Friday, and we had this very cathartic conversation about the inner workings of politics, though I certainly understand there are many people who are upset over what he said. The things that I said, I think it was genuine, and I don't know that I believe or trust everything Milo does, but it is what it is. Now, I will say this. We have been under very serious threat for months following the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We had a vehicle approaching our property slowly, fire a shot, line up with our studio, fire 2 more shots. We don't know what it is. I said it before, I said it again. I'd rather just believe it's random nonsense in the middle of nowhere for someone just shooting a gun for no reason. But it doesn't make sense, and that's a naive way to approach these things. But I try to be rational and pragmatic. So it's a difficult position. It's stressful. It is. Now, the issue with Candace Owens is when she makes a thumbnail, the billion-dollar question, and she puts a mystery man in a Polaroid, the insinuation is obvious, and this is the game she's always played. Who benefited from Charlie Kirk's death? And then she shows Kash and she shows me, because she knows that people who don't pay attention, she knows that regular people scrolling through, they read headlines and they see photos, they insinuate, they connect, and they move on. And that was the point of what she was doing. I believe that it is intentional on her part. Now, I don't care about intention. I really don't. I said this last night. Elad was on the show and he said she's intentionally doing it. I said, that doesn't matter. It really doesn't. The question is, what is the outcome of what she's doing as she pushes these psychopath grifter conspiracies so she can profit off of the death of Charlie Kirk while spitting on his grave and smiling as she does. What is the outcome? It's actually pretty obvious. We've received emails from people threatening us with death. And when you ask who benefited and you have a mystery man Polaroid, here's the insinuation. You're saying, is it Cash? Is it Tim? Or is there a mystery person? Because if it was really just about, no, she'll say it's because we were highlighting his episode of With Milo. Then why put the mystery man Polaroid? This is social engineering 101. I have called her out for it before. Assumptive manipulation, assumptive reasoning. The way it works is you will say something hoping the other person or you knowing they will assume an incorrect thing. It's very common in sales. And, you know, one way I describe it without trying to be specific and call anybody out would be like if I said, you know what I really want to do? I want to buy everyone the most delicious filet mignon they've ever had. That's what I want to do. You know what? I say we do it. But, guys, I really would love to. Now, we need to hit our sales goal of X amount of widgets sold. Then, everyone now believes. Did I say I would buy them? No. I said I want to. Then when they do the sales, I come out and say, we did it. I'm getting you dinner. They go, oh, man, the best steak dinner of my life. And then I order them a hot dog. And they go, what is this? And I'll say, it's dinner. And they go, you said you were getting me steak. I never said that. I said I wanted to. I can't do that. See, that's how you manipulate someone into doing something without ever having to actually pay off the reward. This is a component of what she does. Who benefited from Charlie Kirk's death? Here's a picture of Tim Pool. We get it. So where are we, my friends? Well, Antunes 1. Candace Owens' new video, Who Benefited from Charlie Kirk's Assassination. Meanwhile, her last 20 videos with millions of views, each all about Charlie. Lies, innuendo, and I love this. None of these things have ever been answered. It's basically the lost of news, politics, and true crime. Every episode is just a question. It's just a question with heavy insinuations. Now, of course, she's tweeted out directly calling on people to pull their donations from Turning Point USA. We have this clip from Nick Fuentes, of all people, Nick Fuentes. And he's got praise for me, which is...
Yeah, I love Nick Fuentes going
Candace,
off on her.
Uniting
he already
Nick
hates
Fuentes, her. Tim Pool, Dave Rubin. How is this possible? Was that her all along?
He's got some good points about her.
Evil scumbag forcing people who normally disagree on many issues to come together? Maybe that's the play, right? Well, here's what Nick said in response to a question about Israel killing Charlie Kirk.
Nick, keep an open mind on Israeli involvement in Charlie's assassination. There are many fact and suspicious events pointing that way. Why are we stopped noticing when it comes to this? America first.
You're an idiot. Sorry. Thank you for the big super chat, but I'm sorry. If you're on the Candace Owens train, I'm not even going to pretend like I'm going to try to appease you. It's wrong. It's stupid. All of it is stupid, and I'm not going to entertain it at all. And I thought Tim Pool had an epic go-off on it tonight. It was awesome.
Well, to be fair, the Daily Beast called it MAGA star melts down at Trump fans an expletive-filled rant, and they called it, I believe they called it unhinged. Yes, in an unhinged verbal assault. Man, it's really interesting.
Yeah,
it's really interesting, isn't it? Why is it that
I think it was a little performative. But Tim went off the handle a little bit and, called her a cunt and flipped out on her after she had
the Young Turks, are they conservative?
Said some of the stuff that she
did.
did.
See what we have. Maybe Candace is right. Surely Candace is right. She is spot on.
I'm looking
it's
for
pronounced
another
TP
video
Israel now. You know what's really fascinating? You know what's fascinating to me is, I like to peruse the old leftist YouTube every now and then. And I went to the Young Turks, and sure enough, they're like aligned with Candace on this. Okay, I say like as the literal, not completely, but it feels that way.
That's what I'm looking for.
And the comment sections are, you find the right video. You find a video that's related to Turning Point, Erica Kirk, Israel. And it's so funny. The overlap between Turning Point and Candace's audience, they love each other. Anna Kasparian even saying that she's been watching more Candace Owens recently. You know, it's really fascinating. It's true crime. It's female coded. And Candace has tapped into it with her Stanley mug and her, I loved him, when I said, I feel like an alien here. And he said, I'm a time traveler. I'm like, what is it, like a romantic drama? Yeah, true crime, romance, mystery box. I genuinely believe that Candace Owens likely planned this out. I think she's very smart. And I think they were looking at how do we make compelling content. You can take a look at shows that have succeeded, shows that have failed. And I think they very much went for mystery box is great. Mystery box is a show that always ends on a cliffhanger. So, for example, we joked about this here about, doing skateboarding stuff that always ends on a cliffhanger. You do something random, completely random. There's two ways to resolve it. I could say something like, as I'm wrapping up a segment, I can go, whoa, I just got an email. Oh my God. Oh my God. I need to do another segment on this, guys. Check out my next segment coming up at 1. I can't believe this. Off. And then everyone's like, what happened? What's the next episode? I have to watch. I was talking to my buddy Robbie. Shout out Robbie. And he was just like, Tim, it's like every episode ends on a cliffhanger and you got to see the next episode to figure out what happens. And I don't really take it seriously. And I'm like, well, a lot of people do. And it's destroying. It's destroying politics. We're trying to fix and mend these problems. And she's sitting there smiling, burning it all down. Let me finish this video from Nick.
I have never seen such a clear-cut case of an individual person being such an unnecessary detriment through sheer ignorance and irresponsibility. I've never seen it. Because you could say other people that have done things like Shapiro or Charlie Kirk or whoever, you could say they're part of a system or there's an incentive structure, they're playing by the rules, whatever. Candace is spearheading this thing, like she is creating this hysteria, and it is to the detriment of everybody. It is to the detriment of the right wing broadly. It is to the detriment of anyone that seriously talks about Jews in Israel. And it's to the detriment of rationality. It is the definition of hysteria. And I thought Tim Pool, very courageous, because I know he's getting shit for it, to say something about it. He had an epic go-off on it. Major respect for him. But yeah, no, I'm not with that at all. Thank you for the big super chat, but respectfully, no, disrespectfully, that is stupid.
Disrespectfully, yeah.
Disrespectfully. Look, I am fed up with the fake diplomacy. I am sick and tired of the PR narrative reality. You guys know this. I know this. Everyone knows it. We know it. When something happens, a politician or a CEO is going to give a statement, and we can predict to the dotted I what they're going to say. It is generic plastic lies, and most people see through it. There are many people with low reading comprehension. I'm not trying to insult them, but they don't see through it. And so Candace, and it's fascinating because it is insulting to call someone stupid. I get it. But some people are stupid, right? So when Candace is intentionally manipulating people with low reading comprehension, she then says, Tim Pool called you stupid. They're going to get mad. That is what it is. I'm not going to play any games. I'm not going to.
So one of the things he's referring to is when she went on the Thanksgiving break, but she put out a tweet and manipulated it. It was disingenuous in the way that she put out the tweet. So she said, received credible information that the French Legion and Israeli operatives are attempting to kill me. We're going to take the rest of this week off. It was Thanksgiving week. She was already going to take the rest of the week off. It was the holiday week. It's what many podcasters do normally anyway. Either they'll stream for a couple of days and be done for the remainder of that holiday and the weekend, or they'll take the entire week off. So she puts it out and she says, threats on our life, we've sent it to the FBI, and they have confirmed receipt of this. In that wording, it is meant to portray to somebody that's not paying attention when they read that the FBI has received the information she sent, and they have confirmed it. What she says in reality, when you look at it properly, is they confirm receipt of it. It's like it's the equivalent of sending me a text message and then me saying, I have received your text message. I'm not agreeing with it or disagreeing with it. I'm not answering it. I'm just confirming to you I received a message from you. That's all they've done. And since that time, they haven't given any answer on what's going on with it. Alex Jones had some billionaire asshole on his show who claims he's a CIA informant who is claiming that this is legitimate. Like, if there's one thing I trust in life, it's a billionaire. But I certainly hope that Alex has always been a controversial guy. I've found him for the most part to have good information. I'm very concerned about this part that he's coming out with now. He's not always right. None of us are. We make mistakes and we get things wrong. I'm concerned with him coming out on his show, having this billionaire dude who is claiming he's a CIA insider and has been, excuse me, feeding them information somehow for years, and he's confirming that there was the intent there was going to be an intent on action on Candace Owens' life. Like, I'm not buying it. But this is the concern about things like this. This is why I started the show. This is why other people out there in the sphere are really frustrated with things that are going on. A lot of people, especially when Trump came into office and started talking about the fake news, fake media, and everyone's eyes got opened a little bit more. I mean, for a lot of us who follow this on a regular basis, we're aware that you can't trust all of the media, including our own, by the way, including Fox News or, OAN or whatever. You take all that with a grain of salt because they've got their own narrative, their own propaganda spin points in yada yada. Eventually, people got so frustrated that they started walking away from the legacy media and started putting more focus on podcasters and content creators that were just regular Joe and Janes like you and I, who wanted to get information, share that with the people, and share it openly and honestly. We've already been lied to. I don't need a new person who's running their own independent show to go ahead and lie to me more, just in a different format from legacy media. We expect that these people, like myself and others who are we've kind of gone rogue and we're trying to communicate with everybody ourselves instead of having a major platform or some gigantic backer that's giving us a studio and paying all the money. And then we're trying to communicate this information and be real with each other. So the problem with that, with a Candace Owens, with a Milo Yabadabadopoulos, is these people are just grabbing viewers, bringing them in, and then just feeding them a whole bunch of bullshit. And they are essentially doing the exact same thing that the legacy media was doing to all of us, which brought us to this point in the first place. Everybody is Nick Fuentes' viewership is doubled at this point. When I was following him early on, he was 200 to 300,000 people, maybe. Now he's 500,000. He's on his way to 1 million. He's over 500,000 plus at this point. Because more people are gravitating to the ones that they feel like they're getting the truth from and they're not being bullshitted by. So the argument that's happening with Candace Owens, and I've been arguing with some people online, I've been going back and forth with some women on there as well, because a lot of her content is like true crime drama and crazy shit like that. That's what she's catering towards. Women love that shit. They go on Netflix and they watch the murder documentaries and all that crap. They eat this shit up in their books and everything else. So, and that's why she's got her book club and all that crap. So a lot are gravitating towards this because it's interesting talking points and it's interesting information. And we're all still asking the questions about what really happened with Charlie and what information are we missing. But then she just starts throwing shit at the wall, claiming that she's got all the proof and she's coming with all the receipts. And then she says it's like a whistleblower that emailed me or called me from somewhere, and they're letting me know what the deal is, but then doesn't really give you the deal. doesn't really give you an answer. You just get a list this long of everybody that is potentially involved. I mean, at this point, you would get a shorter list if she just told you who wasn't involved. But that's when it gets ridiculous, disingenuous, and you know it from when she gets pissed at Tim Pool for calling her out, so she creates a thumbnail with Tim on it with the suggestion that maybe Tim's another insider that's in on it too. That proves that shit is being thrown against the wall and that everybody else has to defend themselves against Candace Owens. That's not the way burden of proof works. It makes for some interesting talking points if you're at the bar with your buddies or you're at the cafe and you're having coffee and you're going, oh my God, did you hear Bridget McCrone's a man? That's fine. But when you have a show with a couple million followers and then you go on and say, yeah, this is the deal, totally. Now prove me wrong. I mean, that's bullshit. It's not the way it works. And she's been this grifter throughout her entire career. I'm going to finish because I've got to go into work early. It's our busy season. Once again, as I explained earlier in the video, this is what gets in the way of me really doing more contact posting. And I still have a whole bunch to do. I will get to it when I can. But here's one guy here that's on TikTok. He's can you fax me? And I guess he's kind of doing news and updates and stuff as well. And he goes over in this 2-minute, 59-minute clip here everything Candace has done throughout her career. Earlier in my catalog, you can go in a video where I've talked about pretty much the exact same thing. She started as a left-winger. She started at one point having a doxing site of other people and conservatives where you could find their home addresses and numbers and call them, harass them, or go to their homes. And then when she saw the tide changing, when she saw the grift not working, she very magically and conveniently became a conservative. Then she goes to the Daily Wire. Then she's arguing about the terrorists in Palestine and shitting on Israel. And then when she gets fired by them, she goes full bore, I hate the Jews, brings Ian Carroll on, another Jew hater, and they come together to form the anti-Jewish coalition while simultaneously saying, no. We don't hate Israel. We never said we hate Israel. We're just saying we're asking questions and we have concerns. Like, they are strongly insinuating in every single situation that Israel is the problem for every single thing on the entire planet. The reason you couldn't find your car keys this morning, Israel. The reason that you were late for work because traffic was heavy, Israel. I mean, according to Candace and Ian, they're the boogeyman that's in your closet and causing all the problems in your house. If you want to be a reasonable person with a show, you can critique their government in some of the foothold they have in American politics and American politicians. Of course you can have that conversation. We should have that conversation. But to turn that into all of Israel bad and they are the source of every problem on the planet, like this is what Candace and Ian Carroll do, once again, disingenuous. Just throw shit against the wall, and if some of it sticks, great. You got 500,000 new followers, and a whole bunch of people donated. No big deal. If the truth comes out later on down the road that you were wrong or full of shit, one, half the people have probably forgotten about it, or two, you just go, well, what I said was taken out of context, or you know what, I'm just trying to bring truth to light. And people don't like it, and then you play it off and you bullshit your way out of it. Listen to this guy catalog everything that Candace Owens has done throughout her career.
We go 2008, sued Stanford High School over alleged racist death threats. No voicemails were entered into the case. Only her words as proof. 2009 and 2010 has claimed she attempted to take her own life in college. No medical records, no hospital intake, no psychiatric admission, no campus police reports under any normal protocol. An event that serious would generate a paper trail and a psychological evaluation, but there is nothing. All that exists is her word. 2009 to 2010 says she dropped out of college over financial aid issues. No supporting documentation exists. Zero records of financial aid or collection reports exist, only her words as proof. 2010, interned at Vogue magazine, claimed she was abused there. 2011 to 2014, worked in finance private equity, specific roles unknown. 2015 to 2016, ran a liberal gossip site called Degree One.
See, the liberal gossip site called Degree 180 Gossip. This is when she was a leftist.
180 Gossip. 2016, launched a public doxing site, socialautopsy.com. It was widely condemned as dangerous and illegal up until 2000.
She was doxing conservatives and others with it. This is when she was a leftist. Now it comes up to 2016, and the Trump train is really rolling. He's gaining popularity with everyone that's interested in what he could do. And all of a sudden, very conveniently, Candace Owens is a staunch conservative who is fighting alongside all of us and just wants to expose the left. By the way, Ian Carroll was also a leftist. And then both of them have made similar claims. They saw the light, realized leftism was bad, turned to conservatism and to expose what the left really was. Both of them, former leftists, now claiming they've turned staunch conservatives, or at least moderates.
2016, Candace presented herself as a die-hard liberal and very anti-Trump. The following year, publicly flips to conservative and pro-Trump. 2017, she was hired by the great Charlie Kirk at Turning Point USA as Director of Urban Engagement after flipping to conservative. 2018, temporarily suspended from Twitter over posts for multiple violations and racist tweets. 2019, suspended by Facebook over hate speech. 2019, fired by Turning Point USA. 2019, 3 months later, marries wealthy $240 million British heir George Farmer after knowing him for only 7 months. 2020, GoFundMe suspends her citing hate, discrimination, intolerance, and falsehoods. 2020, Facebook fact-check partners suspend her for spreading misinformation. 2020, hired by the...
Now, to be fair, the fact-checking bullshit on Facebook was all of those lefty fact-checkers that they had brought on to attack what they were calling misinformation on Facebook. And then the shitbag that owns it, the Android, had to come out and eventually, being questioned by Joe Rogan and others and say, yeah, that was a mistake. We got rid of the fact checkers. That shouldn't have happened. It was putting people down and suppressing conversation instead of, allowing free thought and conversation to happen. So in defense of that, the fact checking thing was bullshit. I went through it. Many people did. Mark Zuckerpuke.
Daily Wire to host a show marketed as the new face of black conservatism. 2021 loses her lawsuit against fact-checking outlets. A judge ruled her claims to be misinformation. 2022 named as a defendant in a class action lawsuit over a cryptocurrency scam. 2024, Australia denies her a visa on character. 2024, the Daily Wire fires her. 2025, sued for defamation. 2025, officials and commenters state she has provided no evidence on her claims about who was involved in the Charlie Kirk assassination. Candace holds a 0% fact-check percentage and has never one time officially been right about anything. In fact, bring the facts right here in the comments. If you can, not a feeling, not a theory, hit reality right in the face, kids, because there is nothing you can post here. From high school through today, Candace Owens has displayed the same cycle. Create a scandal, center herself as the victim, offer no evidence, monetize the chaos, flip ideological positions for attention, burn every bridge, and then move on to the next spotlight. If you still take this woman seriously and at her word, there may be no hope for you at all. She is exactly what I call a blue playbook conservative, a liberal, mentally packaged and marketed as a conservative brand for her own profit.
And I agree with most of that, other than the ones where it was happening to everybody. The bans on Twitter when it was still run by essentially the left and Democrats. The bans and bullshit fact checks on Facebook because those were all bullshit, and they ended up getting kicked out, and that doesn't happen anymore. But again, to kind of wrap this up, there's so much more to talk about, and I'm going to have to get to work. But it's a kick in the teeth for all of us content creators, podcasters like myself that are trying to do the news and opinion and bring stuff to you, that are trying to be honest and legit with you. You cannot like my opinions. You can think I'm an asshole. And that's perfectly fine. But I'm not coming on and lying and bullshitting you about what's happening. I'm trying to be real and truthful with you because I have the frustration of not getting that from every other source that I was going to prior to all of this and prior to finding content creators that I appreciate, like a Louder with Crowder, who talks about what's going on, and also they present their facts when they're online. You can go on their page and you can find all of their references, so you know that they're not just spouting shit and throwing things against the wall and hoping that you will find that interesting and then you'll just run with that particular ball. And that's what she's doing. I have never called for anyone to be canceled off of internet podcasting or anything. I don't believe in that. What I say is these people don't deserve the following that they have. She has 5 million followers, and she doesn't deserve all that. Now, these people are making their own conscious decision to follow her and be interested in this. And, I don't know if they're deciding she's full of shit or they're deciding they 100% believe this. I hope some of them, for her and others that are bullshitting people, I hope that they wake up and they see, yeah, I can't follow this crap anymore. She's full of shit. It's absolute lunacy. I can't be a part of it anymore because it gives everyone else that is trying to bring just the real deal to you a bad name. Or you gravitate towards all that drama and BS and then ignore everyone else that's out there that is trying to bring you a more level-headed approach to what the situation is. I'm not a fan of TP, to be clear. I'm not a fan of TP USA. I was not a fan of Charlie Kirk. I've been outspoken against Erica Kirk. But two things can be true at once. I can have concerns about all of them, and I can also come out and say, I have these concerns about Candace Owens. I don't think we're getting the proper information from either one of those sides. And that's a detriment to everybody that is trying to look for some sort of truth about what's really going on here. And not only are you not getting it, but you are getting just this multitude of lies about in misinformation. I hate it when the left uses that, but this misinformation about who's involved. And then what do you do with all of that information once you have it? Once you're trying to figure out if it's Israel, the B cult, the deep state, TPUSA, the FBI, the trapdoor that was there at the event, Mormons, Britney Spears, Egyptian planes, the Trump administration, Erica Kirk, and etc. Kash Patel, Charlie's friends, the French working with Israel to do this. Some of the most ridiculous things. What do you do with all that information once you have it? Let's assume one part of that is true. What do you do with that at that point? You just go, yeah, it's all fucked. And then you grab your shit and you go to work. If you feel like TPUSA is involved, don't support them anymore. Don't give them any more money. And then feel free to be outspoken against them. If you feel that, not that Erica Kirk was involved, but in my opinion, again, to be clear, this is my opinion, she seems like a disingenuous widow. She does not seem upset about Charlie Kirk's death at all. It seems like it's just life has just moved on for her, and she already had money to begin with. Now she's got a whole bunch more, and she's the head of TPUSA, and she's just moving forward with smiling and laughing and doing events and showing up for shows. It seems very disingenuous to me. That's my personal opinion. I mean, do I think she's one of the ones that signed off on Charlie being killed? No, I don't. But I also don't think she's shedding real tears about it either. But if we're going to expose who was really involved, you have to hold the parties accountable for their actions if they were part of this. If she's naming everyone in their frickin' mother, how do you keep half the goddamn world responsible for this? I mean, it's damn near impossible. So what you need is the truth and genuine information for this. And you're not getting that from Candace. You're not getting it from Milo. You're not getting it from Ian Carroll. And you're not getting it from anyone else that is also pushing Candace's garbage. And there's a couple other of them out there that are pushing it too and claiming she's got the receipts and she's got the... No, she doesn't. She's got shit. They put in clickbait in their description of what their video is, and then they just play you 2 hours of fucking garbage where they don't actually give you any relevant information. And now, what are you doing as someone who is trying to get real news and trying to get real information? Where do you go? You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You turn around, there's the legacy media lying to you, giving you false narratives and shoving propaganda down your throat. You turn back around again to the podcasters that you're hoping can give you something real, and they are throwing shit against the wall and daring everybody else to answer the call and come back and say yes or no. And you're in the middle going, I don't have no fucking clue what's going on. What's real and what's not. And that's not fair. It's not right. Because the whole reason, as I explained earlier, the whole reason everybody came to this point of going to podcasters like Tim Pool or Finding Me or Nick Fuentes or The Quartering or anybody else, the whole reason they're gravitating towards that is they know they can't trust those other places and those other entities. And these ones are just gobbling people up and feeding them, just regurgitating absolute garbage right down their throats. And that's why when people are arguing and going, why are you attacking Candace? Why can't you just leave it alone? Why are you so angry that she's asking questions? Why can't you? Why are you so obsessed with Candace? We're obsessed with anyone that's going on and bullshitting people while simultaneously saying they are the truth and you have to tune into them. No, they're not. And it just screws more people over to the point where they're just going to shut back down again and go, you know what? I don't want to hear any more about politics. I don't want to hear any more about the news. I don't care what's going on with Charlie Kirk and TPUSA. I don't care what's going on with Trump, his current government, or the new government that could be coming, or the old one before that. I just want to go live my life. And when everyone tunes out because they're burned out and they're sick of it, that's when all of them get away with all of their bullshit. They get away with micromanaging your life. They get away with making things so much more difficult for you. They get away with all their schemes, their lies, and their cheating, and their money laundering, and everything else. And I'm not just talking about some of these podcasters. I'm talking about all of these politicians and others that while we're in this big fight, and it's the Spider-Man meme. Everyone's pointing at each other. I'm pointing at Candace. Candace is pointing at me. She's pointing at that politician. Tim Pool's pointing at her. And in the meantime, they're all just lining their pockets with insider trading and all the other bullshit. And no one's getting the real information. And that's the saddest part about what's happening. And that's why it's important to be obsessed about what Candace is saying and call her out for her bullshit. Because it's worth calling these people out, putting them on blast, and then having them face responsibility for what they're saying. If you're going to come out with an accusation, have proof of the accusation. Don't say, oh, well, if you guys don't address it, I'm going to come with all my receipts and I'm going to let them out. If you feel so strongly about this situation and Charlie Kirk was your best friend, why the fuck didn't you come out with all the receipts right then and there? Why are you turning it into an episodic mini-series where the person that benefits the most is you? The person that is benefiting the most from Charlie Kirk dying, aside from Erica Kirk, is Candace Owens. Because she has been on a non-stop rant about all the information she has, and if you push her just a little too far, she's going to release it all. Well, if you care so fucking much, fucking do it. If your best friend died and you had an internet platform with millions of followers and you had the information, the receipts that you can come out there, would you turn it into a fucking mini-series like you're watching Battlestar Galactica? Or would you come out and say, here's the information over the course of like these 3 things, I'm going to run for like a couple hours long, whatever it is I can do until I'm exhausted. I'm just gonna fucking blow it all up. I'm gonna give it to you all. I don't care about making money. I don't care about my monetization. I don't care how many followers I get. I care about bringing the proper people to justice. Isn't that what you would do? Or would you turn it into a series of 15 shows where you keep making allegations, you keep showing videos of people on their cell phones at the shooting, you keep talking about these whistleblowers who are calling you from the fucking French palace, the military, and they're on the run and witness protection, and all this bullshit, but never really have anything definitive? Which one would you do if it was your best friend that was brutally murdered and you had the information? The miniseries? Or would you put it all out there and seek immediate justice? You do the miniseries when it benefits you. And you have the allegations and you do not have concrete proof. In my opinion, this is what has happened here. This is why it's wrong, and this is why it's important to talk about. All right, guys, I got to finish up here. There's a lot more to do, so I'm going to try to get to more of this and other stories this weekend. Please like, share, support, and subscribe to the show, please. Trying to grow it. I really appreciate all new members and everybody that's sticking with us. I hope you appreciate what I'm doing here. I work a full-time job, and then I try to do this, and I do the best I can when and I'm figuring all this out on my own as well. I don't have a producer or something looking over my shoulder, giving me the real deal about all of it. I'm literally fucking, internet podcasting for dummies my way through the whole thing. So any support I get is really appreciated. I got more updates for the show coming through the holidays. Thanks, everyone, and I'm going to talk to you again real soon.